भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमः श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः गोविंदाय नमो नमः। Hare Krishna, Prabhuji and Mataji. So we are studying Srimad Bhagavatam and chapter by chapter summary. So far we have studied first 3 chapters of first canto, and today we will be going through, or we'll be studying the 4th chapter of the first canto, 1.4. So just quickly to give you an overview of what is in the first canto. There are 12 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam who already know or who already have a set at their home. When we get this full set for our home, then sometimes it looks like so many books, you know, and very often you see these books are, you know, in our shelf or in our box, unopened, because sometimes the sheer volume or the size of the books, we are unable to, you know, read them. And sometimes we do get courage to open up the books and start studying, but then by the time we read first canto or get to the some chapters, then we are unable to progress somehow or other. Some of you have done that anyway, but I'm just sharing the feedback that I've heard from people. So the purpose of these sessions is so that we can give a full overview, we can go chapter by chapter, and how concisely we can discuss and we can get the gist of every chapter and every canto. And I would again encourage you to go and study at your own pace. You can also read, you know, and the best part is we study one chapter, you go away and you study that chapter yourself for the rest of the week. And there are roughly about 40 shlokas or 30 shlokas. So read Prabhupada's book. You can just read the shloka translation and the purport, and it will really, really make things very clear. But anyhow, so the first canto, how it is structured is, so the first 3 chapters discusses the 6 questions asked by the sages at Naimisharanya. So far we have discussed those 6 questions, and those 6 questions are answered by Suta Goswami in the first 3 chapters. Then the next chapter, from chapter 4 to chapter 7. From 4 to chapter 7, it covers why did Vyasadeva write Srimad Bhagavatam. And this question will come up today and we'll discuss that, right? From 4 to chapter 7, a part of chapter 7. Then from chapter 7 to the last chapter in the first canto, it covers the events leading to the birth of Parikshit Maharaj. Then Parikshit Maharaj decided he was cursed by the son of Brahman, and then he decides to fast unto death, go and sit on the bank of Ganges. He accepted the curse, he accepted his mistake, and then in the last chapter there is meeting between Shukdev Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj. Right? So pretty much that is a high-level overview of the first canto, just so you can conceptualize in your mind. So there are 3 main sections, 6 questions. Then why did Vyasadeva write Srimad Bhagavatam? And then events leading to birth of Parikshit Maharaj, and then finally he accepting the curse and the meeting of Parikshit Maharaj and Shukdev Goswami. Yeah, so that's the first canto. So today's is the 4th chapter. Let me share my screen. So we will discuss, we'll start with this verse and then we will discuss the chapter overview. So just sharing my screen. Okay, I hope you can see my screen. Somebody please just give me a yes or no or a message that, or you can even type a message or say that you can see my screen.
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Anne Mataji. Okay, please repeat. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. So you can just repeat wherever you are. किं वा भागवता धर्मा न प्रायेण निरूपिता प्रियः परमहंसानां त एव हि अच्युत प्रिया प्रियः परमहंसानां त एव हि अच्युत प्रिया. Word by word translation by Srila Prabhupada की जय. किम वा और भागवतः धर्मा devotional activities of the living beings, na not, prayena almost, nirupita directed, priya dear, paramahansanam of the perfect beings, ta eva that also, he certainly, achyut the infallible, priya attractive. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. This may be because I did not specifically point out the devotional service of the Lord, which is dear both to perfect beings and to the infallible Lord. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The dissatisfaction which was being felt by Srila Vyasadeva is expressed herein in his own words. This was felt for the normal condition of the living being in the devotional service of the Lord. Unless one is fixed in the normal condition of service, neither the Lord nor the living being can become fully satisfied. And this defect was felt by him when Narad Muni, his spiritual master, reached him. It is described as follows. So to give you context, Prabhuji Mataji, Vyasadevji, he has written all the Vedas, and he also wrote Purans, he also wrote Mahabharata, but still he was feeling incomplete within himself. He was unhappy. And you all know Vyasadeva is a literal incarnation of the Supreme Personality of God. Yeah. So today what we're going to understand, and today we're going to, so this question will be answered, why was Vyasadeva dissatisfied? Yeah. So, and then using this, we will go through other events and other questions and answers. Remember, I said earlier also, it is very important. Mahaprabhu is, when speaking to Sanatana Goswami, Mahaprabhu tells him that Prashanottare Bhagavate Kariyache Niradhar Yanara Shravane Lok Lage Chamatkar. By questions and answers, it establishes the conclusion. So that is that is how we do in our normal day-to-day life as well. Okay, so let's do Mangala Charan and then we will discuss further. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padkamlam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitantam Sajivam Savadhetam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Shri Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansha Kalpatarobhyascha Kripa Sindhu Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar श्रीवासाधि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे भूतेर्महद्भिर्यैमा पुरो विभो निर्मायशेते यदमोष पुरुष भुङ्क्ते गुणान् षोडशात्मकम् सोऽलङ्कसृष्ट भगवान् वचांसि मे श्रीकृष्ण शरणागतं कथा अमृतं सतत पीबतम् भक्ति वेदांत मार्ग पंथनम सर्वलोक ऋषि देव जन्म प्रसन्नम सर्वलोक ऋषि देव जन्म प्रसन्नम. Hare Krishna. So the chapter is titled The Appearance of Shri Narada. Yeah. So what had happened in the previous chapter, Prabhuji's and Mataji, was when Sud Goswami answered the sixth question of Shaunakadi Rishi, he confirmed or he reaffirmed, and he says that the question was, now that Lord Krishna has gone back to his abode, where has Dharam taken shelter? Yeah, Dharma kam sharanam gata. And then Sud Goswami tells them, Idam Bhagavatam Puranam Brahm Sammitam. Yeah. So he says this Srimad Bhagavat Puran, yeah, which is the incarnation of Supreme Personality of God. And then he says that this Srimad Bhagavatam was compiled by Srila Vyasdev, and after he compiled, he passed it on to his son. Yeah. And the qualities of his son, he says, is that Tad idam grahya masa sutam atmavatam varam. Yeah, he gave it to his son Sutam, who is the Atmatam Varam, who is the topmost of this, who is Atmatam, who have realized the self, the topmost of the realized souls. And this Bhagavatam Puran, he says that Sarve Vede Itihasanam Saram Saram Samudritam. Very important to understand. I think last time also I said that this is the, and Srila Prabhupada translates Saram Saram is twice, cream and cream. So this is cream of all the scriptures. You don't need to go anywhere else. You don't need to read anything else. If you read Srimad Bhagavatam, then you have read everything else. So this is the cream substance of everything, all the teachings, all the Puranas, all the Vedas. And then he says this Srimad Bhagavatam, he says that then he gave it to his son Shukdev Goswami, and Shukdev Goswami spoke it to Parikshit Maharaj on the bank of Ganges, who was fasting unto death. Yeah. And then he says, then he answers that question by saying that question, the dharma kam sharanam gata, and he says, Krishne swadhamo upagate dharma gyan adi bhi sah kalau nashta drisham esham purano ark adhuno dita. Now that Lord Krishna has gone back to his abode with all the dharma, all the gyan, they have gone with him, but this Puran, this Srimad Bhagavatam Puran has appeared like sun. So when the sun appears, what happens? The darkness goes away. So similarly, Sud Goswami is saying this Bhagavatam Puran, and he's already said that Idam Bhagavatam Puranam Brahma Samhitam, which is the incarnation of the Supreme Lord. And by the appearance of this Bhagavatam Puran, all the darkness has been dissipated. And then in the last verse of the third chapter, he says, Tatra Kirtayato Vipra. Yeah. So he says, Tatra Kirtayato Vipra, O Brahmanas. He is now addressing Shaunakadi Rishi, who asked the questions. So he says, Tatra as in there, on the bank of Ganges, Kirtayato. So another thing to understand. So Shukdev Goswami spoke Srimad Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj. And here Sut Goswami is saying Kirteto, as in Kirtan. Kirtan as in glorification. So Kirtan does not mean we singing and chanting. So Kirtan also means studying or glorifying the Supreme Lord. So this is not different from that service. So that is also Kirtan. So he says, Tatra Kirtiyato Vipra Vipra Risher Bhuri Tejasa. Aham tatra aham api tatra adhyagamam aham api tatra adhyagamam vinishtasya tad anugrahat. So he says, on the bank of Ganges, that Vipra Rishi, who is the Rishi among the Vipras, among the Brahmanas, who is the topmost, Shukdev Goswami, he spoke. And Ahamapi, he says, even I was also there, Adhyagamam, I also studied. And I think I mentioned earlier, so in the assembly, Sut Goswami was sitting there, and he was actually sitting at the back. And then Shukdev Goswami asked him to come and sit at the front, because he knew that in future, Sut Goswami is also going to recite Srimad Bhagavatam to the sages in Naimisharanya. So what we studying is, this is the Srimad Bhagavatam which was spoken by Sut Goswami in the Naimisharanya. There was one recitation which had already been done by Shukdev Goswami. So this is what we are reading from, what was spoken by Sut Goswami. So he says, I was also there, and because of his mercy, tad anugrahat. Whose anugrahat? Shukdev Goswami's anugrahat. I was also there, and I also studied. And then he says, so aham shravishyami yathadhitam yathamati. Another very important point. So he says, that same Srimad Bhagavatam that I had heard in that assembly from Shukdev Goswami, I'm going to repeat that to you. And that is why Srila Prabhupada stress on the point, as it is. Yathadhitam yathamati. As I heard, as I studied, or as I, in the presence, whatever I learned from Shukdev Goswami, yathamati. So based on my realization, I'm just going to repeat. So that is our duty, Prabhuji Mataji. We are not scholar, we are not anything, we are nothing, right? All we have to do is, we just have to repeat like parrot what is spoken by our previous acharyas. So that's what Sut Goswami is telling. Now Sut Goswami says, which is the last verse of the third chapter, and today now we're going to start on the fourth chapter. So let me share my screen. Let me know when you are able to see the screen. Okay, I hope you can see my screen. Thank you, Mataji. Okay, so this is now appearance of Shri Narad. So this place is Badrika Ashram in Badrinath. If you go to North India, so that's where it is, on the bank of Saraswati River, and that's where Srila Vyasadev's ashram is. So he was at his ashram, he was at his kuti, and that's where Shri Narad appeared. Yeah. So now we will discuss the events leading to Shri Narad's appearance. So the appearance of Shri Narad, and then so now when Sut Goswami told Shaunakadi Rishi that I'm going to speak the same what I have, yathadhitam yathamati, whatever I heard. So in that assembly, what happened is, now Shaunak Rishi. So let's also understand who is Sut Goswami, who is Shaunakadi Rishi. Yeah. So Sut Goswami is son of Rom Harshan Sut, his father. And Sut is, by the way, if you must have heard the word Sut. Karna was also addressed as Sut Putra. Yeah. So Sut Goswami that we are saying, he belongs to a lower caste. They used to deride Karna that you are a Sut Putra, you belong to a lower caste. So normally what happens is, if a Kshatriya is married to a Brahman girl, and from their association the child was born, so he's not considered to be Brahman. Yeah. So that's how Sut Goswami was born. His father was not a Brahman. Yeah. So they were actually called Sut, but they were very intelligent, as you can see now in this assembly. So Shaunakadi Rishi, Shaunak. Shaunak Rishi, he belongs to Bhrigu Rishi's dynasty, and he is a Brahman, and he is a guru of thousands of sages, 10,000 plus sages in Naimisharanya. Sut Goswami, I think, as I said in the first chapter, that first it was just Shaunakadi Rishi and all these sages, they had assembled there and they were performing the Yagnahuti ceremony. They did not know what to do. And then in that assembly, as Sut Goswami arrived, yeah, so we call him Sut Goswami. Go means senses and Swami means master. The one who has mastered their senses, he is called Goswami. Goswami is not something that we inherit from the previous generation. It is not. So if this is based on our karmas, based on our action, you could become a Goswami. Yeah. So Sut Goswami, as he walked in, all the sages stood up and they offered him a seat. So here Shaunak Rishi is offering Sut Goswami a higher seat. And as Sut Goswami spoke this, then it is said that the Shaunak Rishi, yeah, so he says, Iti Bruvanam Muninam, yeah, as Sut Goswami said that, yeah, all the rishis who had assembled there for a long time, they were performing that ceremony. Iti Bruvanam Samstuya. Samstuya means very happy, congratulatory, thanking him. So when he said that, then Shaunak Rishi stood up and Samstuya, he started glorifying Sut Goswami. And here now in the next line, we understand the position of Shaunak Rishi. Now Shaunak Rishi's position is said, Shaunak Rishi, he was Vritha, he was an old man, he was a Kulapati, he was the leader of all those sages. So he says, Vrdha Kulapati Sutam. Yeah. And then Bahwa Richa Shaunako Abrabit. So he was old from age, he was at a higher position. And then he was a leader of the sages, and he was Bahwa Richa. Richa means Vedas. So he was the knower of the Vedas. He knew all the Vedas. Shaunak Rishi, and Shaunak Rishi became very happy when he heard that from Sut Goswami, and then he congratulated him, he thanked him, and then he addresses him. So he says to him, Sut Mahabhaga Vadano Vadatam Vara, yeah, Katham Bhagavatim Punya Yad Aha Bhagavan Shuka. So he tells him, Sut Mahabhaga. See, when you really love someone out of love and affection, so it shows Shaunak Rishi, he was a little bit older in age. So when you are addressing someone younger than you with love and affection, with respect, so he's calling his name twice. Sut Mahabhaga. Yeah. Oh, greatly fortunate Sut. Yeah. Please, Katham Bhagavatim Punya. So what you said, that Srimad Bhagavatam, which is Brahma Samhitam, or that Punya Katha which was spoken by Shukdev Goswami, please, Vadano Vadatam Vara. Vad as in speak, no as in unto us. Please speak to us because you are Vadatam Vara. You are the greatest of the speakers. Yeah. Please speak that Srimad Bhagavatam to us. We are so keen to hear that. And Yad Aha Bhagwan Shuka. That was spoken by Shukdev Goswami, and they're addressing him as Bhagwan Shuka. Sometime in some circumstances, you will see Narad Rishi is also addressed as Bhagwan. Here, Shukdev Goswami is addressed as Bhagwan. When Gajendra pastime, we hear there Maitre Rishi is addressing Agastya Rishi as Bhagwan. So there are certain points you will see that, but don't get confused. We studied in the 3rd chapter, and Sut Goswami clarified that Ete cha amsha kala pumsam Krishnastu Bhagwan Swayam. So Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. Yeah. So now you understand the position of Sut Goswami, and you also know Shaunakadi Rishi. Yeah. And he is called Goswami because he has mastered his senses. And what matters is age does not matter. The birth in what in what caste you are born, it does not matter. What really matters is your bhakti. Yeah. Bhagavad bhakti hinasya jati shastram japa tapa. Yeah. Apranasya dehasya mandanam lokara. Yeah. Your jati does not matter, your caste does not matter. As long as you have a devotion to the Supreme Lord, that is the only qualification, Prabhuji Mataji. In this path, in this mark, you just have to be totally surrendered to the Supreme Lord. So they addressed him like that. Now Shaunak Rishi, who was in the assembly, so he addressed him and they started asking. Now, to begin with, now they are asking questions. So you understand Sut Goswami's position, you understand Shaunakadi Rishi. When I'm saying Adi, it means all the other Rishis. Now they are asking three questions, three set of questions, or about three personalities here. So they are asking about Vyasdev. So the first question is that why did Vyasdev write this? Kasmin yuge pravratyayam sthane vaken hetuna kuta sanchodita Krishna Kritwan Samhitam Muni. Yeah. So this is the English translation. You can read that. So their first question was, in what period and at what place was this first begun? Why was this taken up? From where did Krishna Dvaipayan Vyas, the great sage, get the inspiration to compile this literature? Now, it is very important. It should be a natural question. We know Vyasdev has written. So far they knew that Vyasdev, who is the literal incarnation of Supreme Lord, he has written all the Vedas. He has written all the Puranas. And he has written so much literature, so much about the Supreme Lord. He has also written by now Mahabharata. Yeah. So he has basically covered all the living entities depending on their position. Mahabharata is considered, Mahabharata is to be read. It's very important in Kali Yuga. Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport, because it is very difficult for everyone to understand the Vedas. Now, first of all, we can't read the Vedas. If somehow you try to read it, you cannot understand the Vedas. There is no proper teacher available to teach you the Vedas, right? There could be so many speakers, but nobody knows the essence. I tell you, once Srila Prabhupada was in Delhi, and there was a meeting happening, and a number of other Sampradayas leaders had assembled there, and some of the ISKCON's devotees were also there. And then the conversation started. And Prabhupada asked them, what is the purpose of the Vedas? What is the meaning of the Vedas? And somebody said some meaning, somebody said some meaning, right? But they were not to the point. Then Prabhupada asked one of the Gurukul students from the ISKCON Gurukul. At that time we had a lot of Western, Western devotees. And I must say that Western devotees have played such an important role. Prabhupada used to thank them like anything. Prabhupada, he struggled so much, to set it up in India. But when he went to the West, the Western devotees took it to the heart, the teaching of Srila Prabhupada. Yeah. And it is because of their hard work, I must say, I must recognize. So they did so much hard work, and seeing their dedication, His Holiness Devamitra Swami Maharaj once shared the pizza philosophy, the pizza analogy he gave. He said pizza was made in Italy. But nobody liked pizza at that time. But once pizza went to America and it became so popular, then Italy realized, oh, it is our dish. And then they started advertising. So similarly, we in India, we did not appreciate these teachings. But when the devotees in the Western countries, with their complete surrender and dedication to Srila Prabhupada, right? Today's ISKCON, they have played such an important role in that. So Srila Prabhupada asked one of the devotees, what is the purpose of Vedas? And this young child, he says, the purpose of the Vedas is to know Krishna. Bhagavad Gita 15.50. Yeah. I am to be known. Vedescha sarve aham eva vedyam. Vedant kritved videcha. Yeah, I am the one to be known by studying the Vedas. So it's very difficult, Prabhuji Mataji, for us to understand. So it was a natural question from the sages that if Vyasdev has written so much literature, why did he have to write another book? Yeah. So this was one of the questions. Kasmin yuge, in what period, at what place, and why was it taken up? And who inspired Vyasdev, the great sage, inspiration to compile this literature? So this is a very logical question. Yeah? So this is also training for us. When we are asking the question, we should ask a meaningful question. Once Srila Prabhupada was in America, and he was speaking at a university, and one student stood up and he asked Srila Prabhupada, he looked at Prabhupada and he questioned Prabhupada's neck beads. He said, why are you wearing these neck beads? And then Prabhupada questioned him back. I think he was wearing a tie. So Prabhupada asked him, why are you wearing a tie? then he told Prabhupada, what kind of response is this? I'm asking you a question and then this is your answer. And then Prabhupada then chastised him. Prabhupada said, what is your question? A sadhu has come. A sadhu has come. You should make some real inquiries. You should be asking, what is the purpose of my birth? Why am I here? Why am I suffering in this material world? These are the questions that you should be asking. And you're just asking, why are you wearing this bead? Why are you, he could have asked in private. This is once again, for a layman, it could be a genuine question, but we need to be mindful. Yeah. So again, going back to this point, this is a genuine question asked by the Shaunakadi Rishi of Sut Goswami. Before they hear Srimad Bhagavatam, so they asked these questions. So that was one answer. Then, so this is first is who is the writer of Srimad Bhagavatam. Then they are asking the question about Shukdev Goswami, because they had also heard about Shukdev Goswami, and he's saying that his son, Vyad's son, Tasya Putro Mahayogi Samadrik Nirvikalpakah Ekant Matir Urun Nidro Gudo Mood Iveyate. So he's saying that's his son Shukdev Goswami. We have heard that he was a Mahayogi. He was a great yogi, Shukdev Goswami. As you know, Shukdev Goswami, he was in his mother's womb for 16 years. And from the birth itself, he was so realized, but he was impersonalist at the time. He believed in impersonalism. He had understood. He was called a Moni, Ekant Matir. Yeah. And Uru Nidro. Uru Nidro means he has won over the sleep. He has won over the sleep as in ignorance. Sleep doesn't mean as in literally sleeping. If your mind is somewhere else, then you're also called sleeping. So if you are in ignorance, you're also sleeping. So he says he's Ekant Matir, who has won over the ignorance. Yeah. And he's Gudo Mood Iva Eyate. From the outside, he looked like a mood. He looked like a fool, right? But he was good. Yeah? So now they are asking about Shukdev Goswami. Okay? And they are asking how Shukdev Goswami, because how he was recognized by the citizens when he entered the city of Hastinapur. Now, briefly about Shukdev Goswami, if you know already, when Shukdev Goswami was born, as he was born, he straight away left for the forest. He straight away left for the forest because he was a complete renounced. He didn't want to stay at home. And as he left for the forest, then Vyasdevji was running after him. And Vyasdevji running after him and calling him, my dear son, please come back. And we discussed that. I think we discussed that when we spoke about during the second chapter. And when Vyasdev was calling his son's name, everything that came back, all that came back was the trees were, there was an echo coming from the trees. Yeah. So it is said that Shukdev Goswami was so powerful sage that he even made trees to speak. Yeah. So trees could speak in his association. So this is the importance of association. So when Shukdev Goswami was born, he left home, he was going away, and Vyasdevji was running after him, my dear son, come back. As Shukdev Goswami was walking, he walked past a pond of water, where some heavenly ladies, they were bathing in that water, and they hadn't covered themselves. Now, as Vyasdev walked there, so they started covering themselves. And then Vyasdev stopped by, and Vyasdev asked them, when my son, he walked past this place, you did not cover yourself, right? But when I'm coming, then you have covered yourself. And he's saying that my son, who is naked, he's 16-year-old, right? And he's young, whereas I'm an old man, right? So the ladies, they responded to Vyasdev. They said, your son is already liberated. So see, the importance is they could understand, Prabhuji Mataji, you can understand someone, what their position is by looking at them, by speaking at them. But as long as we are alert, right? As long as we are alert. So they could recognize, they said, oh, he's liberated. From his looks, from his walk, from his talk, literally, we can say that he didn't even care. So they said, even though he's alert, even though he's naked, but he's so realized, he doesn't make any difference between a man's body or a woman's body. Whereas they said, you are a grahast, even though you are an old man, but you still differentiate between a woman and a man. Yeah. So anyhow, but Vyasdev's position is higher. He just questioned them. He was he was feeling so wonderful as to, why didn't they do that to my son? But that was again I question. So here the same question. Now Shaunaka Rishi is asking. He walked past that pond, and he's saying how the citizens of Hastinapur, because now it is leading to Shukdev Goswami meeting with Parikshit Maharaj. So they said when he entered the city of Hastinapur, Hastinapur is now Delhi, which is the capital of India. It used to be Hastinapur. So at that time, one of the king's name was Hasti. Hasti means elephant. So Hasti was the name of the king. So it was called Gaj. It is also called Gaj Sahave, Gaj Nagri. So Delhi. So they're saying Katham Lakshitah Paurai. So the citizen of Hastinapur, how did they recognize Shukdev Goswami? When he was passing like a madman, dumb and retarded. He was not wearing any clothes. He was just walking. Think of it today. If you see somebody naked just walking through the streets, some people even go to the extent of throwing stones at them. But when Shukdev Goswami was walking, the children started running behind him. Yeah. So how did they recognize him? So that is the question. Then the next question they are asking is that how did it so happen that King Parikshit met this great sage, making this possible for the great transcendental essence of Vedas to be sung to him? Yeah. So I hope you have understood the first question. They wanted to know about the writer of Srimad Bhagavatam. Now the second question they want to know about the speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam. And the third question they are asking is the listener of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is Parikshit Maharaj. So they're saying, how did Parikshit Maharaj met this great sage and he could hear that? Yeah. And now they are glorifying Parikshit Maharaj also. So they're not just, saying the names, but they're also trying to understand those personalities, the greatness of those personalities. Yeah. Like Shukdev Goswami Vyasa. Now they are asking about Parikshit Maharaj. So they're saying Parikshit Maharaj, who was Abhimanyu Sutam. Yeah. And he was Prahur Bhagavato Jan Tasya Janma Mahaascharya Karmani Cha Grihina. So this is the translation point number 4 of this shlok. So they're saying Parikshit Maharaj, who is son of Abhimanyu, yeah, and he is known to be a great devotee, Bhagavato Uttamam, the topmost, the first class devotee of the Lord. And we have heard that his birth is also Mahaascharya, great, wonderful, and we will discuss that in the future chapters, that how Parikshit Maharaj birth happened, how he was protected in the womb of his mother by Lord Krishna. So his janma and then his karma, his actions, his activities are also so great and wonderful. And Grinihi na means us, unto us. So they're saying Grinihi is please tell us. Yeah. So I hope you are with me. So the third question they're asking is about Parikshit Maharaj, who is the listener of Srimad Bhagavatam, and then now they further going into his greatness. So they're saying he was a great emperor, and he possessed all the opulences of his acquired kingdom. He was so exalted that he was increasing the prestige of the Pandu dynasty. He inherited a kingdom, but Parikshit Maharaj, because of his greatness, because of his austerities, because of his surrender to Lord Shri Krishna, yeah, Parikshit Maharaj, he has increased the prestige of the Pandu dynasty. Now they go to the next question. Why did he give up everything to sit down on the bank of the Ganges, fast until death? So this question will also be answered, but it is still about the greatness of Parikshit Maharaj. And then they go to the next extent. Again, they're asking more. He was such a great emperor that all his enemies would come and bow down at his feet and surrender all their wealth for their own benefit. And he was so youthful, strength. He possessed kingful opulences, which is difficult to give up. Why did he want to give up everything, including his life? Yeah. So that shows a detachment, Prabhuji Mataji. So from this, you can understand he was the greatest of the king. And in a moment, he decided to leave everything. So that is the whole point when we study these scriptures. From the scriptures, we try to apply things in our life, right? It is not an academic study. Yeah. The whole purpose is to we study and then we see how we can apply in our lives. Because in our own rights, you're also king of your house. If you want to say like that, you are the head of the family. So you can say, I'm also king. You also have some subjects, your wife, your children, they're obeying your orders. You put it this way. Yeah. But the point is, why did he give up everything, including his life? Yeah. So very good question to understand that. And then finally they said, okay, he was a devotee to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he lived only for the welfare and development of others. And he did not have any selfish interest, any personal thing to gain, right? And he was detached from everything. But then how could he give up his body, which was shelter for the others? Yeah. Please understand this point. So the point they're making is, yes, we understand. Sometimes, as a family, if you are in the Grasta ashram, we see some position. So it will be considered a selfish move. Sometimes if husband says, I am going to leave everything, I am so detached. But here the point they're asking is, how could he give up his body, which was shelter for others? Because there are other dependents. They're dependents on you. You can't just be selfish and say, I'm leaving everything now and I'm going away. They're all dependent on you. Yeah, on one hand, you can say, I'm detached, I'm free. Yes, you are free, you are detached as an individual, but because you are in this world, you have some dharma to complete. Yeah, we were discussing a verse today. Lord Shiva is telling Prachetas in the 4th canto that pastime will come. So he is telling Prachetas, after doing so much austerity, how Brahma gets his post, and he says, Swadharmanistha Shatjanma Vipuma Virinchitam eti tata param hima Avyakritam bhagavatot Vaishnavam Padam yathaham vibudha kalataye. So he says, Swadharmanistha Shatjanma Bhipuma. If you are situated in your dharma, if you are in the Grahastha ashram, you are performing all the duties of a Grahastha ashram. If you are situated in a Brahmacharya ashram, or if you are situated in a sannyas ashram, so for 100 lifetimes, Prabhuji Mataji, if you follow up your Swadharma duties very nicely, right, then after that you can become Brahma. Yeah. So any one of you can become Brahma, or maybe you have already been a Brahma and you've come to this state. So the point is that you perform your duties very nicely, and at the same time you glorify Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that is the combination. Prabhupada was very clear. We are not teaching people to leave homes and go away. No, that's what Lord Krishna, what did he say to Arjun? He says that Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmarana yuddha. Hey Arjun, oh Arjun, every time, sarveshu kaleshu, at every moment, remember me and fight. See, he didn't tell him, rather he chastised Arjun. He called him that you are such an important. Kutashta kashmalam idam. From where this pollution has come into your mind. Malam, you are behaving like a napunsak. See, so Lord Krishna chastised him. So we don't run away from our duties, Prabhuji Mataji, but we do our duties nicely, and we also glorify Supreme Personality. So here, going back to the question, so what Rishi Munis are asking is, yes, we understand he was a devotee, he was detached, but then his body was shelter for others. Why did he leave that? Yeah. So these are the 7 questions which will be answered in all the remaining chapters of first canto. So if you memorize them, if you remember them, it will be very helpful. Like I said, remember the questions, and if you have remembered the questions, then you'll be able to link up to the answers. And we'll be discussing these one by one, so that you have that chain, and then it will be very easy for you to conceptualize in your mind, so that you have a full understanding. Yeah. So these were the questions asked. Now, Sud Goswami start responding. So the first thing he starts, why did Srila Vyasadeva, first question was, why did Srila Vyasadeva had to write Srimad Bhagavatam when he had already written so much scripture? So by the way, in this chapter we will only talk about why did he have to write Srimad Bhagavatam. The other questions will be answered in the subsequent chapters. So he starts with the birth of Srila Vyasadeva. So Srila Vyasadeva's birth, Srila Vyasadeva is son of Parashar Rishi and Mata Satyavati. Yeah. And if you don't know, Srila Vyasadeva is also related to Vasisht, Maharishi Vasisht. How they are related is Maharishi Vasisht is Manas Putra of Brahmaji. Then Maharishi Vasisht married to Mata Arundhati, who is daughter of Kardam Muni and Mata Devhuti. Kardam Muni is born from the shadow of Brahmaji, and who is married to Mata Devhuti, who is daughter of Manu Maharaj. Manu Maharaj has 3 daughters, Devhuti, Akuti, and Prasuti. So Devhuti was married to Kardam Rishi. From them, So and their daughter Arundhati is married to Vasisht Rishi. Now Vasisht Rishi had son Shakti Muni. Shakti Muni's son is Parashar Rishi, Parashar Muni, and then Parashar Rishi's son is Vyasdev, and Vyasdev's son is Shukdev Goswami. Yeah. So Vyasdevji was born as son of Parashar Rishi and Mata Satyavati, and Vyasdev is literally incarnation of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now Vyasdevji, as he was, he was a transcendentalist, and he had a great vision. So he wrote all the Vedas, all the Puranas, but then it is said that after writing all the Vedas and Puranas, he could see from his transcendental vision that the deterioration of everything material, due to the influence of age, due to the Kali, due to the influence of Kali Yuga, he could see that everything is deteriorating. And what are the signs and symptoms that he felt? Is first of all, people became faithless. Ashraddha dhanasya, people who don't have faith. People who don't have faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead specifically. Srila Prabhupada was very particular about people who are faithless, godless. And I was listening Srila Prabhupada speaking to one of the BBT directors, Prabhupada's disciples. So Prabhupada told him that please distribute these books like anything, so that everyone can become aware of the Supreme Personality of God. He said somehow or other, let this literature reach to the godless society. I mean, he predicted that all these wars, nuclear weapons, etc., all of these are because of the godless society, godless situation. People don't believe in the God. I tell you, once in Russia, some ministers, it was a long time ago, they actually, some of the leaders of the society, they actually brought a resolution. They brought a memorandum, and they brought a memorandum that this God, he has ruled for so long, now we need to change his rule. Funny enough, yeah. So they said, and they actually literally brought a memorandum, and now that memorandum came, then somebody said, but where do we find this God? To dethrone him, we have to find the God. And then there was a search going on and on. Let's find the God, etc. So they tried everything, but finally they could not find anything, and then they had to withdraw that or put that memorandum in court. So to that extent, Prabhuji Mataji, the society, the point that I'm making is the leaders of the society, to that extent, they don't believe in the presence of the God. If you don't believe in the presence of the God, then what is going to happen? We are all seeing, where we are for last nearly 2 years. Everyone is fed up of these lockdowns, Corona, etc., so many problems. So this is all because of us not having faith. And these type of situations are going to happen. More and more troubles are coming. But so faithless. So Vyasdevji saw the faithless people, and because they are faithless, then he's saying their duration of life will be reduced. So because you are faithless and you are, one is engaged in so many activities, against Krishna consciousness, and because of that, they became impatient because they were lacking the sattvagun, sattvagun qualities. They became impatient. The duration of life got reduced. That is why in the first chapter, when they're asking Sut Goswami, Shaunaka Rishi, that's the first thing they're saying. They're saying prayena alp ayusha sabhya kalavasmin yuge jana, that the living entity, the people living in the Kali Yuga, they are short-lived. Their lifespan is very short, and the goodness is lacking. So Vyasdevji could see that, and he was thinking in his mind that what can I do to help these people. Yeah? So as a next step, then what did he do? He had already written the Vedas. Yeah? He had written the Vedas, and he thought to himself that Vedas prescribe these yagnas, these ceremonies, right? You know, to purify the environment and all of these things. And Vedas have so many things. So he says the Vedas chatur hotram karma shuddham vedam ekam chaturvidham. So the four Vedas or the Vedas, they actually promote hotra as in yagna ceremonies. So, but then he thought that these Vedas are very difficult. So in originally Prabhuji Mati, there was only one Ved, and the literal meaning of Ved is to know, the knowledge. So it was just one Ved, but then he felt that it will be very difficult for people to understand one Ved, and then Vedas, like I said, they promote the sacrifice. So he thought, let me split the Vedas into 4 parts. So the next thing he did was he split the Vedas into 4 parts. And what are the 4 Vedas? Yajurved, Rigved, Samved, and Atharva Ved. So he split the 4 Vedas, and then he wrote 5th. All the Puranas, he said, Itihas Puranam cha Panchamo Ved Ujjate. So all the Itihas is Mahabharat, is Itihas, and Puran we discussed. I showed you the list in our first session. You know, and if you don't remember, you can go to the recording and then you can watch it. But we discussed all the list of Puranas. So he wrote Itihas, which is Mahabharat, and all the Puranas. And Puranas are glorifying. You know, like Shiv Puran is glorifying Lord Shiva. Yeah, there is a Devi Puran. There is a Brahma Vaivat Puran. There is Vishnu Puran. So in these Puranas, that one personality is being glorified. Yeah. So they have done that. And here it is said that he himself thought, and he's written those for women's Shudras and others. Yeah, and others it is calling friends of twice born. So first of all, we are all Shudras. Yeah, Kalau Shudra Sambhava. Yeah, so Shudra, basically a Shudra is one who is working for others. If you go back to the you know, the original division of Varnashram Dharma. So as a Shudra, if you are working for someone to get a salary from them, then you are a bounded worker, something like that. Yeah. At the same time, like I said, when you are not following the regulative principles, then you automatically become a Shudra. Mahaprabhu, when he chastised Chota Haridas, Mahaprabhu says that in this Kaliyug, Mahaprabhu is saying Saba Shudra Jiva Markat Vairagya Kariya. So he says all the Shudras, they are doing Markat, as in monkey vairagya, renunciation like a monkey. You know how monkeys consider themselves to be renunciate, because one of the sign is you live in the forest. So monkeys are living in the forest on the trees. They don't have any house. So that is one of the condition of a renunciate. And then they don't have any clothes. They are just walking around naked. Yeah. And they don't, you know, like store anything, etc. They're living on the trees. They don't wear any clothes, no possessions. Right, but what they do is they have so many girlfriends, monkeys. So that's what Mahaprabhu is referring to when he chastised Chota Haridas. Yeah, that this kind of vairagya, yeah, it is called Markat Vairagya. Shudra, this is like Shudra who have nothing, who don't have any purity, who don't have any austerity, who have nothing to give up. They say, okay, now I'm renounced. And to renounce what they are doing. So then in the next line, Krishnadas Kaviraj writes that, then he says, Prakriti. So he says, Indriya Charana Buli Prakriti Sambhashi. To have intimate conversation with women. Yeah. To fulfill their senses. Prakriti is referenced as woman. So they are now calling them that we are renunciate. So they are the Shudras. Yeah? And then the others is twice born. Friends of twice born. Twice born is very important. So twice born means it's also called Dvija Bandhu, Brahmana Bandhu. So we all know that who was the guru of Pandavas and Kauravas. What is the name of their guru, Prabhu, who taught them the weapons?
Dronacharya.
Dronacharya, thank you. Thank you, Rashmi Prabhuji. Yeah, so Dronacharya, he was a Brahmin and his son was Ashwathama. So we will study in the future chapters. Ashwathama is referred to as Dvij Bandhu. So Dvij Bandhu is Brahman Bandhu. First of all, one who is not following, who is born in a Brahman family or who is born in a Kshatriya or Vaishya family, but they are not following those principles. Yeah, so that's one criteria. And second is who are born without any samskar. If a husband and wife they have children out of passion, they are called twice born. So Brahmanas, husband and wife, let's say parents are Brahmanas. So Dronacharya was a Brahmin. He had it, they have this son. You know how they got Ashwathama. It's a long pastime. You know, they prayed to Lord Shiva and then they got Ashwathama. So it was out of passion. Yeah? So that's why he's referred to as Dvija Bandhu. And his actions were also not appropriate. He was in that assembly. He was the one who severed the heads of Draupadi's putra. So he is not behaving as a Brahmin. So he's called twice born. So in this age, if any of us is claiming that I'm born to Brahmin parents, but if my Garbhadan sanskar wasn't done, if my Yagopavit sanskar is not done, then I'm just a Brahmana Bandhu, right? So that's how this term is used, friends of Brahman. Yeah. So for these people, Vyasdev ji wrote Itihas, Mahabharata. Yeah, so Prabhupada writes in the purport that Mahabharata is very important in Kali Yuga because it is very difficult for us to understand the Vedas. What to speak of Vedas, even the Puranas, Prabhuji Mataji, we cannot understand. We read Brahma Vaivarta Puran, we say he's superior. We read Shiv Puran, we say Shiva is superior, right? But when we read Srimad Bhagavatam, then we understand that who is the superior. So there is so much confusion in the society. We are reading so many things. So for us, Vyasdev ji wrote Itihas Puran, yeah, Pancham, which is called fifth Ved. Yeah. And then now he is written everything. He was still feeling incomplete. Yeah. Now we are going to today's verse. Yeah. After writing all of this, and when he wrote the Vedas, he assigned individual disciples from his own disciples. He assigned individual Ved that you become leader of this, of this Ved. You go and teach this Ved. You teach this Ved. You teach this Ved. Yeah. Like Vaishampayan Rishi was assigned, Paila Rishi was assigned one. Yeah. And Sut Goswami says, my father Rom Harshan was assigned to Itihas and Puranam. Yeah, so he was assigned as a leader or as someone who is expert in Itihas and Puran. So after writing all of this, now Vyasdevji was still feeling, there was still incompleteness feeling that maybe I haven't completed everything, maybe there is something missing. And as he was thinking that something is missing, then he suddenly realized maybe because I did not specifically point out the devotional service of the Lord, which is dear to both perfect beings, Paramhansanam and Achyuta Priya. Achyuta is Supreme Personality of Godhead, infallible Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that devotional service is to the Lord. So in, like I said, in all the Vedas speak of sacrifices. Yeah, you perform this yagna, then you get this. You do this activity, you get this. Yeah. And Lord Krishna has also said in Bhagavad Gita in the second chapter when he's speaking to Arjuna, he says that these Veds, yeah, they are promoting karma kant. So we should so the Vedas, it was promoting karma kant activities. Yeah. And then Itihas and Puran, it did not speak of the glory of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that's where Srila Vyasdev felt that there is some gap, but he did not know what the gap is. And he was very sincerely praying, sincerely thinking, what is the solution? What is the solution? And when we sincerely think and pray, Prabhuji Mataji, if our endeavors, we just had Damodar Leela last month, and for the whole month we glorified how Mother Yashoda bound Lord Krishna. Yeah, even when we sing Jai Radha Madhav, Yashoda Nandan, yeah, we just address him as the son of Yashoda. Yeah, with that full affection. So our mind straight away goes that how Mother Yashoda was binding Lord Krishna. But the point that then Shukdev Goswami, when explaining to Parikshit Maharaj, he tells him that Lord Krishna, when he saw his mother laboring so hard, he agreed to be bound. Like I said, in our Acharya say, Brahma ko bhagte hue humne Vrindavan mein hi dekha. Brahma, whose supreme personality of Godhead, who is running in fear, can only be seen in Vrindavan. And why? Because they loved him so much, they were surrendered to him so much, and they were making sincere endeavor to serve him, to please him. Yeah. So similar situation here. Here Vyasdev is thinking, what have I done? So he was incomplete, and he was sincerely trying to uplift, sincerely trying to do something for the living entities. And as he was contemplating, then Srila Naradji arrives at that place. Yeah. And as Naradji arrives, so he says, as Naradji came to that place, he gave him respect which is equal to that given to Brahmaji, who is the creator. Yeah. So Vyasdevji stood up as Shri Naradji appeared there. Yeah. And Naradji is Guru of Vyasdev. Yeah. And when we see in the future chapters we will study, so in that parampara system, so first Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken by the Supreme Lord to Brahmaji. Yeah. Then Brahmaji spoke to Naradji, then Naradji spoke to Vyasdevji, Vyasdevji spoke to Shukdev Goswami, and from that parampara then Sut Goswami, and now we are all studying that book. Yeah. Or studying that granth, not actually. Yeah. So which is Brahma Samhitam, which is the incarnation of Supreme Lord himself. Even Mahaprabhu says to Sanatana Goswami that Krishna Tulya Bhagavat Vibhu Sarva Ashraya, that this Srimad Bhagavatam is Krishna Tulya. Yeah, Tulya, if you look at the literal meaning, Tulya has come from a word Tolana. When we say Tolana, which is weighing up, way up, you have that small scales and you put weight on this side. So literally he's saying, if you put Bhagavat on one scale, Srimad Bhagavatam, and other scale is not different from Krishna. So this is equivalent to Shri Krishna. Bhagavata Krishna Tulya. Vibhu, we are Anu and Vibhu. So Vibhu is also Supreme Personality is addressed as Vibhu. So he's Vibhu. Yeah. And Sarva Ashraya. Everyone can take shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam, and then prati shloke prati akshare, yeah, nana artha koi. Yeah. Whoever reads, whenever you read, so there could be new meaning, there could be a new understanding. As it is said, ruchiram navam navam. Every time you read it, you get a different taste, you get a new meaning, you get a new understanding out of that. So doesn't matter if you read it once, read it again, read it again, read it again. Yeah. I tell you once nice pastime. One Srila Prabhupada was sitting in his room, and there were disciples there, and their one husband and wife, they came to see Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada was talking to the husband, and Srila Prabhupada then asked husband, how are you feeling? And then he said, Prabhupada, I'm feeling very nice since I've joined Krishna conscious. Our life has changed. We are so happy, and I'm chanting the holy names. And I've also read Bhagavad Gita. I've read Chaitanya Charitamrita. Now I'm reading Srimad Bhagavatam. And Prabhupada said, very nice, very nice. Then Prabhupada looked at his wife. And as he looked at his wife, the wife started talking, and she said to Prabhupada that, Prabhupada, I only do chanting. Yeah. The books, I'm not able to read the books. Yeah. I'm not able to understand the philosophy, but I'm chanting. And Prabhupada said, that's okay. But then she just spoke again and she said, but I'm reading Krishna book. And then Prabhupada said, oh, then you're reading, then everything is there in the Krishna book. Yeah. And then for a moment, Prabhupada paused, and then he said, even I read Krishna book. And as Prabhupada said, even I read Krishna book, everybody started saying, Jai, Jai. Yeah. So this is the potential, Prabhuji Mataji. Srila Prabhupada wrote Krishna book himself. And he used to read that almost every day. His disciples used to say, once they were at the airport, waiting for the flight, and the flight was delayed. So then Srila Prabhupada asked one of the disciples, okay, you read Krishna book. And he started reading 1 chapter, 2 chapter, 3 chapter, 4 chapter. And by the time everyone else around slept. And Srila Prabhupada, his eyes were closed, and his eyes were closed. So the disciple thought maybe Prabhupada is resting. So as he paused, the disciple, Prabhupada said, I'm listening. and then so what that means is that that attraction, that love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And as I said, as many times you read it, you get new realization, you understand new meanings. Yeah, you are eating same food every day, right? Do you ever get bored? No, you are eating bread every day. You eat bread. Similarly, I mean, this is much higher taste than these mundane things. But the point is, the more you read, the more understanding we get. Yeah. So as Naradji arrived, so Vyasdev stood up and he paid his obeisances to him. And then after that, now Naradji reconfirmed. So Naradji, now we will discuss more in the next chapter. But then Naradji understood Vyasdevji's mind. And then because Vyasdev had already felt that I have written all of this, but maybe because I did not specifically point out the devotional service of the Lord. And Srila Prabhupada adds to that, he says, loving devotional service of the Lord, which is dear to both Paramhansas and the infallible Lord, Supreme Lord, lies there. Yeah. So that's the conclusion of this chapter, Prabhuji Mataji. So now we answered the first question. The first question that was asked by Shaunakadi Rishi was, at what place Srimad Bhagavatam was written, in what yuga it was written, what was the Kuta Sanchodita Krishna, yeah, at what time and in what kal it was written, Kasmin yuge Pravarteyam sthane va ken hetuna kutah sanchodita Krishna kritvan samhitamuni. So I'll stop sharing now. Yeah. So now we understand that Srimad Bhagavatam was written, yeah, by Vyasdevji. Why it was written by Vyasdevji, and under whose inspiration it was written. So Naradji now come and he talks to Vyasdevji, and we will discuss in the further chapters. So this is the conclusion of chapter 4. We are actually ahead of time today. It is only 7:15. I thought we might have gone a bit over, but maybe we can open up and we can take questions and answers. We can discuss some of the realizations if anybody wants to share their realization or their learning so far.